Hello, this is SY. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Story Protocol. I just want to talk about Story Protocol before I kind of delve into what Story Protocol is. I want to kind of explain the state of content and IP on the internet at the moment. We have social media, we have now generative AI, all these great innovations happening in the world of content. We should be living in a digital renaissance powered by on-chain content where creators are making tons of money to do what they love. And if you think about it, social media really has turned everyone into a creator, right? It has, and not only has it turned everyone into a creator, now we are, it basically supercharged remixing. You're not just creating content out of your own creativity. You're looking at someone else's content and remixing and actually interpreting in your own way. And this is the amount of creation by everyone is kind of the pace of that is crazy. Like 2.5 million videos a day from YouTube, 20 to 30 million videos a day from TikTok. And that abundance and is now unleashed by social media, but it's going even crazier with actually generative AI. Now you have everyone not just becoming a creator, everyone is becoming a content studio, Hollywood level studio with amazing quality work. That's actually video from Sora, OpenAI Sora. So now everyone can be a Hollywood studio in their living room. So not only you have this insane abundance of content, but it's actually becoming a higher and a higher quality. And that abundance is, very, very staggering. In the last 150 years, you've had 15 billion images created. Now, the AI created image actually creates 15 billion images in just a span of 1.5 years, and it will go only faster and faster. So we have this situation of exponentially growing abundance of high quality content, right? With social media and supercharged by generative AI. But what we think at Story Protocol is the biggest problem with content. We will have amazing global distribution with social media, amazing quality of content happening with generative AI. The speed and performance of all these content being produced is not a gating item anymore. What's actually the gating item for AI and generative AI is actually intellectual property. When I say intellectual property, attribution, provenance, compensation around content, right? And you already see this a huge problem. You've probably seen, Drake's deepfake song going to top of the chart on Spotify and SoundCloud and getting eventually taken down with Drake's request. And you see stuff like Harry Potter and Balenciaga. This is a Balenciaga commercial in the style of Harry Potter, and it's generating tens of millions of views, but actually the creator themselves cannot actually put an ad or monetize this YouTube video because it may violate copyright. Also, J.K. Rowling doesn't actually benefit from this as well, although, she may get a bigger distribution, but she's not getting the upside of this tens of millions of views of content, right? Actually, the creator is now actually raising money from Patreon, getting donation to do this kind of mashups, right? But he can directly commercialize this content. And now you see the big copyright suing big AI and big tech left and right. So OpenAI is getting sued by New York Times. Getty Images is actually suing SEABW AI. And you saw probably this video of OpenAI CTO getting asked by a reporter whether actually she used YouTube videos for training OpenAI. And she doesn't actually answer, right? She just refuses to answer. So now all of our content is getting pumped out. And this content is actually being trained by OpenAI and all these foundational model companies, usually big tech companies. And no one, is getting compensated for their creativity and their creation. And this is actually another Napster moment we see. In the Web 1.0, we've had all these illegal downloading of music. Now, with actually in the same way with OpenAI to all these big companies, they're training all their foundational model without any without any permission from the copyright owners and creators, and getting all their upside. Actually, Google had the decency to actually bring the traffic back to the website. But now with the OpenAI, ChatGPT, and Google's generative AI model, you don't even need to go to the website. So website owners and all these entrepreneurs or creators don't even get the upside. So what we have is a situation of a situation of tragedy of commons. Internet is the commons, and everyone is actually using this commons for free, especially the big tech foundational model companies. And now, if this trend continues, who's going to have any incentive to create more content when actually the upside of all the content is going to the foundational model companies? And we may actually have internet turn into a barren land when 99.99% of content is AI generated content, but now AI generated content and AI foundational model has no creators to actually train their model on, or creator as outputs to train their model on, because they're not getting any upside or compensation for their content. So we think to challenge, to address this massive challenge in the current state of intellectual property, we need a new intellectual property infrastructure. And when I say intellectual property infrastructure, that is a new way to incentivize creators. It's not about just protection. It's about incentivizing new creators in this new technological breakthrough. And every breakthrough in technology, in terms of content production and content distribution, actually requires a new way to incentivize creators. So I just want to give you a historical context. So actually, if you think about the first IP infrastructure, that is actually the copyright law. You've had a similar situation to what you see now. Like how social media and generative AI, is unleashing crazy abundance of high quality content. What printing technology has done to content is it actually radically reduced the cost of reproduction of content. And now creators have to figure out a way to how to claim ownership over these copied works. And is it publishers' works? Is it the creators' works? Is it actually the investors' works? Now, with the copyright law, there was a new way to allocate ownership over these copied works. And when that happened, you've seen something like Shakespeare and Charles Dickens. In the same way, where are we now? We have this huge disruption into content technology and distribution. And what we have now is actually the copyright law knows how to deal with social media, remixing, content co-creation, radio, film, TV, gaming, print, books, all these traditional forms of content. But if you think about it, copyright law is made and can only make sense of actually mechanical reproduction. It's about, okay, you copy this work, I'm going to sue you. You copy that work, I'm going to sue you, right? But it doesn't know how to deal with this generative machine, creative machine that is generative AI. And generative AI, what it does is actually, it's remixing on steroids. It basically trains their model on the entire internet, whether it's a copyrighted work or not. They just suck all these data in, they remix it, and it comes up with something entirely new, right? So we are stuck with this IP layer of the old age. We need a new IP layer that's going to deal with this new generative AI, this new paradigm of generative AI. And our solution is actually having a programmable intellectual property layer. If you think about where IP is, all these pieces of content is locked up in legal contracts, right? It's locked up in legal. If you want to actually license someone else's content, remix someone else's content and commercialize it, you have to talk to their legal team, have a bunch of lawyers negotiating this bespoke agreement for like 6 months, talk to their business development department, or actually talk to a big tech company and talk, to figure out how to go through their terms of service. Actually, all these licensing, remixing layer of each piece of content is locked up in legal contract. There's no programmable intellectual property layer. And what we are proposing is we need IPs to be captured on chain, and where each piece of content actually is setting their their rules of engagement, and actually it executes royalty and licensing autonomously, peer to peer. And all this information around licensing and remixing is enshrined in the IP. So what will it look like? It was quite abstract, so I want to kind of dig down into what I mean by this. And just to give you a right framework of think about this, I think all of us here are in crypto. And in crypto, we know this concept of programmable money. Programmable money as opposed to static dollar bill in your pocket. Static dollar bill in your pocket, you can buy and sell. You can buy things on a shop. And normally, everyone uses WeChat Pay to Kakao Pay to, PayPal to Apple Pay. But now, what that versus programmable money is, a programmable money now gives money a built-in API. So now you don't need any financial intermediaries like banks or lenders, traditional lenders. You can have all sorts of DeFi applications being built on top of it. And programmable money can flow from one DeFi application to the next. You can stake your USDC somewhere and then just get a lending, get lending immediately without any middleman. You can jump from Uniswap to all these, Compound to all these lending protocols in a very, very easy way. So programmable money actually allowed, by giving money a built-in API, a totally parallel financial system. In the same way, we're trying to basically build this programmable intellectual property layer where all these middlemen of lawyers to business development, all the platforms, those who are in between IP interactions, IP registration, and we take away all those folks in the same way programmable money has done to finance and money. And you may ask, has an NFT done this? But NFTs has only validated scarcity and ownership around the content. It didn't actually prove anything else. NFTs are still static JPEG files. NFT, what it is, if you actually look into and dig into it, is just a pointer to a media file. Even if you have entire internet's data on NFT, you can't take that data file and actually, let's say you have a character like Bored Ape, you have something like Harry Potter actually enshrined as recorded as NFT. You can't take just Harry Potter or Bored Ape and take it to your metaverse game, or use that and turn that into a chatbot and give attribution provenance compensation for actually usage of those things. Still, JPEG, NFT is a static JPEG file actually trapped in legal documents. If you want to actually license Bored Ape and do something around it, you still have to talk to a bunch of lawyers, talk to Yuga Labs business development department. It's still stuck in the JPEG file. So what we actually do with programmable IP is vastly different. Static JPEG file, it's not composable. It's not programmable. It's not composable because it's not programmable IP. And actually, if you think about the beauty of Web3, it's the open source ethos. Open source ethos of actually getting people to build on top of you frictionlessly and permissionlessly. But, NFT is just a static JPEG file that you cannot use without going through a bunch of legal contracts or huge negotiation. But with the programmable IP now, what we have is all this information around how to get the royalty, registration, copyright, remixing. It's all enshrined in that IP. So I think there are two parts to it. We call it nouns and verbs when we talk about programmable IP. What programmable IP is in a kind of our protocol, we call it IP assets. An IP asset, there's a noun part of it and verbs part of it. Noun is basically the essential state of that IP. And at the moment with the NFTs, it's just a pointer to a media file. But what we do with actually story protocols, programmable IP, is every single IP now gets a smart contract wallet. We use the token bound 6551 standard, ERC 6551 standard, and this our version of token bound account, the smart contract wallet to the NFT, now serves as a portal to our protocol, and now you can set now in that smart contract wallet, you have the core metadata around the IP, licensing module data, royalty sharing data. And the reason why how we can do this is we can use the verbs, which are modules. You can set the licensing terms around the content. Okay, I want my content to be globally remixable, but I want to have 30% rev share. I want when foundational model is actually training my data, I want to get a micropayment this way. when this data set is being used for the foundational model, I want my IP, I want my content to be actually, used this way and licensed this way with this kind of royalty sharing structure. And now, once you use all these modules through our story protocol, the story bound account model, you can have all these metadata enshrined in our NFT through the smart contract wallet. And all of these are actually written in code. So it's machine readable and writable. So both creators and actually AI models can just read this content and decide what they were going to do when they're training and fine-tuning these models. So, and just to give you an idea, what we're doing with this actually programmable IP license, we call it PIL, is actually what actually YC has done to seed investment. It's very similar to what YC has done with seed investment. Before YC came up with safe notes, everyone was doing this 2 or 3 month of Series C documents with like expensive Silicon Valley lawyers. But with YC doing safe notes, you can just decide a valuation cap, discount rate, a very, very few parameters, and basically get your seed round done, angel round done. In the same way, what we have is very customizable licensing contract, licensing parameter, licensing contract around your IP, and you can just app developers and creators can use this licensing framework to basically set licensing terms and royalty sharing terms around the content. And actually, all these licensing metadata and royalty sharing metadata is actually machine readable, writable. So now, in the same way, Programmable Money is building a entire network of applications. What we are doing with Story Protocol is what we call, it's IP composability, right? So, for instance, we have an app called Sakai, which is a generative AI-driven anime creation app. Let's say that app pumps out millions of characters. Those millions of characters get actually recorded on our global IP ledger, and those millions of characters can instantly be usable and repurposable by chatbot application like Character AI. So let's say Character AI creators want to use the characters in our anime app to create a new AI boyfriend or whatever AI character they want to create. They can just do it without any permission by using smart contracts, right? So now we have IPs not just locked up in legal documents, but it growing like a graph, growing like a neural network, having all this attribution provenance while actually being being transformed into different formats in different applications. We now have we've launched our beta version Ethereum Denver Hackathon. We have 150 plus builders and 3 million total users that we're addressing, and 30 partners we're actively working with. They actually span from Web 2 apps like Magma, which has 2 million artists pumping out 10 million drawings. All these 10 million illustrations can be now used across different IP applications on our protocol, to IP-Fi apps, which is doing like intellectual property ICO, to AI generative AI infrastructure like Ritual, AI apps like MyShell, social apps like Lens Protocol and Orb. And I think the biggest the greatest kind of accomplishment that I'm proud about was 10% of Ethereum Denver Hackathon projects actually built on top of Story Protocol, and 2 out of the 5 general hackathon winners out of 250 teams actually came out of Story Protocol, and one of them actually is a very interesting app where everyone can create a character or scenes and worlds. These become Lego pieces, right? You can bring your own characters that you've made. You can bring your NFTs. All these IPs that are characters, worlds, scenes. The users and creators are making like a Lego pieces. And actually, Sakai allows you to mash together these worlds and characters and scenes and create your own anime, right? And when this anime gets monetized through almost like a friend tech-like mechanism, where only an exclusive group of users and consumers can access earlier content and monetizes, actually it compensates for all the Lego block builders who contributed to this generative AI-driven anime, right? So this is an example of an app where actually folks who are getting, inputting all these characters, worlds, and scenes into a generative AI foundational model and fine-tuning it and actually creating an anime are getting compensated through this kind of through this amazing app. And actually, they're getting so much interest from top venture investors, and they're probably going to announce their fundraising soon. So yeah, this is an example of a good app that's being built as Story Protocol. So and kind of as a final note, I just want to conclude with the story of Napster and Spotify. When Napster happened, everyone was downloading music for free. No one had real incentive to really, actually purchase music and compensate musicians. And it's really when Spotify, in a small country, Sweden, working with two record labels, showed an alternative model where record labels and musicians can actually get compensated for their creations, and showed a very convincing, persuasive, easy to use alternative model when the music industry started to getting fixed. In the same way, I think what we need to do is, we need a world in which where all these data the creators are creating are actually tagged with programmable IP license, where all this metadata is now NFTs and can be readily read by AI models, and actually they can decide what to do with these IPs, and also if they're monetizing, they can easily pay back the royalties and actually give a provenance and attribution. And I think what we as Story Protocol want to show is an alternative vision, alternative ecosystem in the same way Spotify has done with music. Thank you so much.